Hello, all my bottoms up babes. This is your soul master, Carrie, taking the messiness in life, mixing it up, finding the message, and serving it to you straight. Because healing isn't linear, it's layered, and sometimes the breakdown is just the beginning of your breakthrough. Here, we honor the ache, speak the life into silence, and give the broken pieces a place to belong. This is the space where truth meets tenderness, where your story is sacred and your scars are seen. So breathe deep, open up, listen up, and let the healing begin. Hello, all my bottoms up babes. This is your soul master, Carrie, taking the messiness in life, mixing it up, finding the message, and serving it to you straight. Today, I actually was going to talk about a whole different topic, but in the last couple weeks, I've had about 4 or 5 people talk to me about this one specific topic. So I thought, you know what, this must be a sign or something that I am to talk about. So I'm going to let God, the universe, whomever, work through me and deliver this message. So I'm kind of just winging it here, and I hope that maybe message is for you and that it serves you well. In 2012, there was a song that came out by Calvin Harris, and it was called Sweet Nothing. And the lyrics go something like this. So I put my faith in something unknown. I'm living on such sweet nothing. But I'm trying to hope with nothing to hold. I'm living on such sweet nothing. And it's hard to learn and it's hard to love when you're giving me such sweet nothing. And what this song is about romance with no depth. How many of you are in a relationship, a marriage, or any type of situation that you feel that there's just no depth to it anymore? It's hollow, it's broken, it's dark. And so I guess my reason for bringing this up today, and what aligns with the last few people that I have spoken to, is if this looks like you and your everyday relations, I want to ask you, why are you living on such sweet nothing? Is it fear? Is it hope? Is it control? Is it your ego? A lot of people use children as a reasoning, and I'll be honest with you, I feel that that's just an excuse. Because is it really the control and using the kids as an excuse to basically hope that maybe one day things will change, or to make sure that whomever, maybe it's your spouse or significant other that is wanting to leave the relationship, and maybe having the kids is a way for you to control them or spy on them or to see what they're doing? Is it really for the kids? And I ask that because in a few minutes, I will touch base on the depth of utilizing the children and what the outcome usually is in that perspective. If your soul feels heavy in the name of love, then this conversation is for you today. We're going to open the door on toxicity in relationships and marriages and step into the truth your spirit has been waiting to hear. Toxicity doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it shows up in a way where your peace is stolen, your dreams are dismissed, and your voice is told to stay quiet. It's not always something like bruises that show up and people can see. Sometimes it's the erosion of who you are, piece by piece. And before long, you start believing that the love is supposed to hurt you and it's supposed to cost you your joy. God, source, the universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe, but He didn't design love to drain you. He designed it to expand you. Real love feels like freedom. It feels like light. It feels like home. Anything that changes your spirit down or makes you feel that you have to be something different, that's not love. The soul knows the difference, even if the heart is afraid to listen. So if any of this so far has applied to you, I will tell you right now, there is much more out there for you, for us, for anyone in this circumstance, because love is made for so much more. And I know this because I once dimmed my light for love, and I once degraded myself and devalued myself and made myself shrink for love. So I know, and it wasn't until my awakening that I've realized all this. And once you start going through the process after the awakening and healing and looking back on things that you've been through, that's when you start realizing that the things that you have once settled for, they will actually make you sick once you have become acknowledgement of your true worth and value. I mentioned earlier about individuals staying in the toxic marriages or relationships that they're in for their children. I am going to literally, person to person, look you straight in this camera and say, please, if you are one of those people, please do not do that. And I say this because I was once one of those individuals that was in a toxic household with parents that fought and with childhood abuse. And I'm going to tell you this. When you do that, you are not only making yourself in a toxic, poisonous, hostile environment, you are bringing your children in that same environment. And what you are teaching them is basically what love is not and not what love is. As human beings, we are a form of science. We are atoms. We are literally chemistry and chemicals and parts of matter that make us up. The body is actually formed to heal itself. And the reason I share that part with you is because when you are putting your children in toxic environments, you are basically messing up the chemical imbalance in their brain. Because even though you are not doing physical harm to them directly, they are still feeling the excitement, the adrenaline, the toxicity, and the hostility that is caused when you and your significant other have disagreements. And maybe some of you will say, well, we don't fight in front of our children, but we do sleep in other beds. Well, now you're teaching your children that separation is love, that it's okay to have separation and not have any communication or chemistry or connection with your significant other. All of these things come into play with your children who are around this atmosphere. And you see, you may not see it as an issue now, but when they become adults like myself, they don't go towards peaceful and calming type relationships. They look for that hostility. They tell themselves that they're looking for that hostility because they want to love with the love that they never had because their parents were always fighting or causing whatever a ruckus in the home. But truthfully, they want someone to give them that love that they never had. But the thing is when they go towards individuals who are troubled, and that's what they're basically veered towards and attracted to, they're actually just going towards someone that is going to cause the same hostility because they're trying to offset that dopamine with the adrenaline, and they are going to entertain those who are abusive to them as well. And when I say abusive, abuse is not just physical. Abuse is mental, it's verbal, it's psychological, it's spiritual. Abuse is not just something that you see on the outside. And to be honest with you, mental and emotional abuse is much more harmful than physical abuse is. So when your children grow up, they're going to actually entertain what love is not and not what love is because they're used to the hostility and they need that chemical balance in their brain because that's how their body is used to functioning. And I know, as most parents would say, if any random stranger, or they don't even have to be a stranger, just somebody other than the parents of your children, you and your significant other, if anyone were to cause harm to your children, and especially an abuse type situation, I know right away, as any parent would say, you would be livid. You would have an absolute fit. But you are abusing your child, putting them in that household under the circumstances if it's under that same situation. So here you are really abusing your children, and they deserve better. If you can't leave for yourself, find it in your heart to at least leave for your children. A child's home is supposed to be their safe zone. They're supposed to be comfortable and safe and feel secure in the home that they live in and with the parents that they love and that love them unconditionally. But it's actually opposite when there's toxicity and hostility under a home. Basically, what you're doing is putting your children in a prison of four walls and poisoning them with hostility and chaos and causing chemical imbalances in their brain because they're hurt and they're hurting seeing their parents hurting one another. So how do we recognize these toxic patterns? First and foremost, if love is asking you to shrink and not grow, that's toxicity. That's a toxic pattern, and that is something that is not healthy for you to be in. When peace feels foreign or like you're walking on eggshells and that becomes normal, then confronting issues or having communication, that is a toxic situation. When you give, but in return you get silence, criticism, or control, that is a toxic pattern, and that is something that is not healthy. How can we honor the soul's truth? We were created in freedom, not fear. Listening to the quiet nudge that says that this doesn't feel right. A full body yes is quiet, but it feels so powerful that it actually feels like peace. And when it sits on your chest, you almost feel this whisper that just says, this is it. This is what's meant to be. Your worth should never be measured by how much pain that someone gives you or that you could carry for somebody else. Start journaling moments that cause chaos. Write down when your soul feels heavy. Start taking note. Start going and practicing things that where you could go and talk to yourself or talk to another and say small truths about the situation that you're in. And start jotting down these things, because these are examples that you'll be able to look back on and remind yourself, especially during the healing process when you are removed from these toxic situations, and see that these are things that you will never go back to, because the way that that person talked to you or spoke to you with, degrading manner, or, blaming you with something, whatever the case may be, when you start to see those types of patterns again, then you know that it's not for you, it's against you. So how do we fix this? First and foremost, you have to remove yourself from the environment that's making you sick. You will never become healthy if you are still in a toxic environment. That's like going into a new garden and wanting to bloom, but yet you're still sitting here watering yourself with poison versus water. You have to remove yourself from the toxic environments in order to start to become healthy. Even if you're sleeping in separate bedrooms, even if you're still talking or trying to be friends or whatever the case may be, if they are degrading to you or verbally or emotionally abusive to you, it's not going to work. You have to physically remove yourself from the whole entire situation. Go no contact, whatever you need to do, but you need to get out of that environment in order to start blossoming and start blooming. Love never drains, it restores. And if it's something that's not restoring you, then it's not for you. It is not like chains. It's free. You're not supposed to feel tied down. And the first step is choosing yourself. You have to start speaking kindly to yourself. You have to start putting yourself in situations and saying that, I deserve love. You've been put down for so long that you don't even feel that you're deserving for the love that you actually do deserve. And now it's time that you put yourself first, because if you don't fill your cup, you cannot fill others. And if you are miserable, that is only going to show on the outside of it and make you a character that you're not. You don't want to represent yourself. If you're a loving individual and you truly do unconditionally love the people around you, then it's time that you start showing that, and starting with yourself. You need to start anchoring yourself in God's unconditional love, because once you put a firm foundation and knowing what your soul is meant for and the purpose that it's here, and knowing that it begins with love, that's when you start to attract that same type of love in your life. People that bring you peace and respect and truth and light and make you feel whole and bright inside. Healing is not about fixing who you are. You don't need to be fixed. You're not broken. What it is it's returning, and it's reminding yourself and returning to the person that you've always been, before the lies, before the abuse, before the wounds, before the chains that held you down. And in order to do this, you have to remove yourself from the toxic air and the toxic location that you're in, and put yourself in an environment that you are ready to bloom. It's like a plant or like a tree. Have you ever purchased something and it's just outgrown the pot? Well, in order for it to keep getting bigger and not letting it die, you have to put it into a larger environment, the one that's more healthy for whatever it is to grow. And that's how you are going to become healthier. Otherwise, You can't sit here and wonder why you feel dead inside when you're putting yourself in a dead environment. You can't grow any type of flower in the desert. It doesn't work that way. As we wrap up today's episode, let's take a recap on what we discussed today. Number one, make sure you start recognizing those toxic patterns. Honor your soul's truth and fully step into the love that you deserve, starting with yourself. Remove yourself from toxic environments because remember, the only way that you grow is by removing yourself from what's killing you and what's stopping you from growing, especially when it comes to your children. Remember that every step forward is a step into your truth, into your true authenticity, because every step into that direction is a step towards freedom, peace, and your soul's purpose. Until next time, keep listening to your heart, keep trusting your journey, embrace the love that's always been waiting for you within yourself. Love and light.